Good afternoon here from Home and RV. My name's Doug. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough here on your unit. We're going to go around the outside here and talk about different aspects of it all, and then we'll slowly work our way inside the unit. We're going to be going over a Gray Wolf 26RR. On the outside here, you want to inspect that roof about approximately once every 60 days or so. You want to check all around your roof seams, your roof penetrations. If you do see anything it's suspect, you want to use a product on there called Dicor. Dicor is a self-leveling caulk. You don't want to use silicone on your roof or slides. You can use silicone around the outside of your camper in different areas, around light fixtures and different things like that on the outside here, speakers and such. But you do not want to use silicone on your roof. Now, the Dicor does come in different colors, so you do have different choices to choose from, whatever closely matches your roof color. Your awning, we refer to your awning here as a fair weather or sunshade awning. Basically, there's 4 times when you want to put your awning away, or when it's recommended that you put it away. One of them is when it's raining, unless of course you're out here supervising it. 2 is when the wind's blowing pretty good. 3 is when you go to bed at night because you can't supervise it. And 4, when you leave your camper for any period of time, you should also put your awning away because, again, you cannot supervise it. Now, when you put your awning out, there's a button on the inside that will basically open it all the way until the little valance drops off the end, then let go of the switch. Whenever you go to put your awning away, you always want the roller to roll under the fabric coming back to the camper. So you want it rolling under the fabric and come back to the camper and snug it up tight. Now, your awning does have pitch arms on it. It has one on the back here, right here, and it has one also out here on the front side. Basically what these pitch arms is exactly that. It's to adjust the pitch or angle of your awning. All you do is make sure this knob's loose, pull this down, put it in position, tighten that knob up, and what it's basically doing is it's going to drop your awning down on one corner to allow the water to run off. That's what you're trying to do. You want the awning to pitch and run the water off. What you don't want to have a situation where water could pond on top of your camper and push down on the fabric and possibly pull the fabric loose from the camper itself. So by pitching the awning left or right, or both of them at the same time if you so choose, you're basically giving the water a direction to turn. Before you put your awning away, always return your pitch arms to their normal position prior to rolling up your awning. You have little tie downs back here on the back, you can tie a dog off to or something. You also have a little storage area here for your sewer hose. I believe you can access it probably from both sides. You have stabilizer jacks on all 4 corners of the camper. There's a wrench up in the front storage bin on the other side of the spare tire that will allow you to crank these down. Some people like to use a little drill to do so. It's up to you. I also tell people if you can put them down onto a board or something too, so they don't have to travel as far, and also so that they're not on the ground. It's also a plus as well. The stabilizers are for stabilizing your camper. They're not for leveling your camper. They're not for picking your camper up to change the tires or anything like that. They're there for stability only, just so that your camper's not bouncing around. When you back your camper into a camping spot, basically you're going to level with your wheels, either left or right, to choose. Use your left or right side if you need to, if your spot's not perfectly level. And get your camper level left to right. After that, you're going to use your jack up in the front to level your camper front to rear. So once you've got it left to right and front to rear, and your slide still put in, then go ahead and drop your stabilizers down on all 4 corners. When you drop it down and it does hit the ground or whatever you're going to hit it onto, give it another little extra turn or so. You're not trying to lift up your camper, you're just trying to provide stabilization at that point so that it's not bouncing around. So you get all 4 stabilizers down at this point. Now you can go ahead and put your slide out and start setting up camp. You've got outside here, you've got a little bracket here that you can bring a TV out, and it's got the same type of bracket inside as well to be able to bring a TV out and plug it into electric here and plug it into your cable here for the onboard antenna up on the roof. You have outdoor speakers that are waterproof type speakers. Just don't test them by shooting water directly at them when you're washing the unit. Just kind of let it cascade down the side. Again, this is a 110 outlet right here for anything you want to use it outside for. It's also GFI protected. If there's no power here, check your GFI, probably located in the bathroom, to make sure you didn't trip it. This is just your cable outbound connection for your antenna on the roof, which has a power supply to it, and we'll talk about that when we get inside. But that will help you pull in high def channels and everything so that you can watch TV out here if you so chose. You have a door here that you can open up. This door also has a resistant hinge on it to kind of help keep the door from just flying open whenever you open it up, so the wind won't blow it. You can separate your screen door from your main door, and it also has a bolt lock. This locking mechanism, the keys for both of these cylinders are going to be keyed alike as well. Once you take and open this door fully, you have steps right here that can fold up inside the door frame. They do have adjustments on them on the back side. You can push a little lever in there and adjust these legs up and down for something more appropriately to get them as level as possible. Ultimately, what you really would like to have is this piece of metal here as close to this piece of metal here on the threshold, so that it gets down and out of the way of the door trying to close when it comes across. Like I said, otherwise all you do is open your door fully. You can take these steps and pick them up and fold them right inside the door frame. Also, on this door here, you have a vent up here. This is the high vent for this side, and over on the driver's side you're going to have another vent that'll be probably down lower. You can open those vents either forward or backward to either suck the air in or draw it in from the back side, kind of like some buses and things do. Up here in the front storage bin, this is your hitch work. And like I said, there's your spare, and on the other side of the spare there's your wrench for your stabilizer jacks down here as well. And then this wrench right here is going to be for your power jack in the front. If you ever had a power failure or something happened with the jack and you needed to operate that jack manually, you can use that crank, pull the cap off the top, put the crank in there, and run the jack manually. Also have a surge protector controller right here. That's for your not surge protector, but your solar panel up on the roof. Basically that controls the power going to your battery so that you're not sitting here and overcharging your battery or something to that effect. You've got two 20-pound propane tanks out here on the front. You've got a selector valve right here that's got a little pointer on it. Chooses which tank you're using. Right now it's pointing to the left tank. This tank is open and this tank over here is closed. Anytime you put your cover on, you should also put your cover on in this position where the knobs are to the rear, not to the front. And that's so if your knobs were loose and the lid caught some wind, it wouldn't flip backwards and flip off of there. Typically all you have to do is just take this cover, drop it right over top of the propane tanks, and it's good to go. This is where I was telling you would put a wrench at if in the event that you needed to do so. You've got a switch here. One's for your light out here on the front end, and the other one's for the jack to go up and down. This is your emergency breakaway cable right here. Basically, get it loose here. This hooks to your vehicle, just like your chains do and everything. It should be a clean pull between here and your vehicle. Typically what you want to really see is you want to see a carabiner hooked to this and hooked to your tow vehicle. You shouldn't wrap this through your chains, around your chains, or anything like that. It should be a clean pull between the camper and your tow vehicle whenever you're hooked up to it. Whenever you get onto the ball, when you're putting this down, you always want to lock it down and put a pin through here to make sure that this can't come back out and possibly come off the ball. your chains. You crisscross your chains and put them onto your tow vehicle as well. Your 7-way connector is this one right here. Get this out of here. Come on. Well, why won't you come out? There we go. All right, your 7-way connector, typically this is going to go to your tow vehicle. Can't hardly see in this sun. I also recommend anytime you plug this into your tow vehicle, you should always turn your tow vehicle off, simply because that way you don't get a surge between the two and possibly pop the fuse underneath the hood of your tow vehicle. It's been known to happen before. So even if you do pop the fuse, it won't affect your lights on your camper, your brakes on your camper. All it affects is your good to trickle charge from your tow vehicle to the camper itself. So that's basically the good part of turning your tow vehicle off first. Again, going back to the propane tanks, once this tank is empty, you can close this valve on this one, change this over and move it over to this side, open this tank up, and you can go get that one filled up. Typically when I turn it off, I leave this in this position so that when I get ready to go use it again, all I need to do is look at this pointer to remind me which tank I was using last time, and it's just quite simply just turning this valve on and off. And when you go to open it, a turn and a half or so is more than enough to turn on your propane. Your battery is a 12-volt deep cycle marine style battery. Anytime you're plugged into shore power, it's trickle charging, provided you have your battery disconnect on, which is located in this situation underneath the refrigerator. It's got that red T handle. It's also trickle charging whenever it's hooked to your tow vehicle and you're going down the road again, providing your 12-volt is working correctly and you didn't pop a fuse underneath the hood of your tow vehicle. It's going to also be trickle charging your battery. Your solar panel also will be trickle charging your battery, and you need to make sure your battery disconnects on for that. Your vent and tire pressure information and everything's located over here. It's important to make sure you check your tire pressure prior to going on a trip or anything. Your water heater is an electric and gas water heater. Your electric switch for it is located in the bottom left-hand corner here. That's how you're going to turn it on for electric, and the switch to turn it on for gas is located inside the unit. This is your drain plug for your water heater right here. It's also have an anode rod on it. And this is your high pressure pop off for your safeties. And this is your high temperature cutouts for your safeties. One's for gas and one's for electric. So if it ever was to go out on a high temperature, check your safeties here and make sure that they're not popped out for some reason. Your heating elements are down here. One of the key things also that's very important on your hot water heater prior to firing it up is always know that you have, make sure that you have water in the water heater before you turn it on. You wouldn't want to turn it on with the heating elements on without any water in there. You just burn your heating elements up. The easiest way to confirm that is go to any hot water faucet, turn it on. Typically, example, even this outside shower out here, you can go to it if you were on city water and turn it on hot and confirm you got water flow coming out of it. And if you're not and you're using your other one, you can take it and turn it on for your with your water pump and turn it on to confirm it that way too. Hold on just a second. See, there we go. Also just to be able to confirm it, but just make sure that you do have water flowing through your system before you fire it up. Your low point drains are here. That just comes into play during winterization. This is a cable inbound connection is what this is. This is a little light fixture you can turn on and off from outside here. This is your outside shower. That's going to have your hot and cold capabilities and stuff, so you can if you got your water heated up or anything like that, you can use this outside to be able to wash the dog or rinse off your feet or clean the kids or whatever the case may be. If I can get this key in here one-handed. There we go. This is going to be your fresh tank fill. This is where you typically just stick your garden hose in here and turn it on, and when it I believe it's got a vent here, yep, right here. When it comes out that vent, that means it's full. Turn your hose off, pull the hose out, use your water pump, and that's going to suck the water from your freshwater tank and go to all your fixtures in the camper. This one right here is going to be your city water connection. This is the one where if the place has city water available, that you can just hook up your freshwater hose to this. Keep in mind too, you always want to make sure you use a water pressure regulator valve on that so that your pressure's not too strong. Some campgrounds, their pressure can be extreme, and so a water pressure regulator on there like ours is set to about 50 to 55 psi that we sell here in the store. Have that on there to be able to control that water pressure going in. This right here is your black tank flush. Your black tank flush is basically whenever you're dumping your black tank, like in this case, your starter kit in there is going to have a hose and stuff all in it. You hook your hose up to here. You pull the valve on the left-hand side, which is for the black tank. The one on the right is for your gray. You can also tell the difference between the black and the gray because the black will be the bigger line other than the color of the handles, and the gray is always the smaller line. The black is the black tank, which only comes from the toilet, and the grays can come from the kitchen sink, bathroom sink, shower, things like that. So when you're dumping your black tank and you're using your black tank flush, basically the rule of thumb is you want to take and open your black tank valve first, hook your hose second, turn on your water third, rinse until you're satisfied, turn the water off, remove the hose, let it finish draining out of the black, and when it's done, close the black, then open the gray. The reason we dump the black first over the gray is the gray typically is going to have soap and stuff in it, and it will kind of help rinse out your hose and everything prior to that way when you get done it rinses your hose prior to stowing it away back into the storage area. Your power cord's a 30 amp power cord. Goes back here and plugs in. You also can use a dog bone on here that goes from a 30 down to a 15. Just keep in mind you cannot use an air conditioner whenever you do that, but it will give you the capability to do other things like listen to radio, watch TV, pre-cool your refrigerator, get your batteries charged up, anything like that as well. Your furnace fresh air in and exhaust out is located right here. And this one right up here is your kitchen vent. There's a little flapper right there underneath of it that you can take and stick your finger underneath here and pop that open. So anytime you turn on your kitchen exhaust fan, always make sure that you allow that to be open up so that the exhaust can actually truly get out, otherwise it's just stuck in that position. It looks like the storage place is right there for your storage hose. Also right underneath the frame right here behind this wheel you're going to find a white valve, and the handle pulls this direction. That is your freshwater tank drain. So that's how you let the water out. So if you go and start filling it up with fresh water and water starts coming out right here, it's because your drain's open. You need to make sure that you take and close that drain. Typically we don't haul water when we go to a campground, and we don't bring it home. You want to let that water out of there, and so you're not trying to carry it around with you. This is that other vent we were talking about on your camper. It operates the same way as the one on the other side, but on the high side, this is your low side vent. Again, that's your stabilizer on this side. Now your ramp doors, basically there's a key that's going to unlock those right there. Over on that side as well. You do have a light that comes on and off from back here. I believe that switches on the inside of the camper. There is a camera up here, and there is a process to go through to link that camera to your smartphone. You've got to download an app and then scan that little barcode, that little QR code or whatever they call it. You have to scan that. And then once you scan that, you'll just go through the step-by-step procedures of linking the two together and being able to communicate with it through your smartphone. Some people will use iPads and stuff like that too as well that have Bluetooth connectivity. And that's basically how the two are talking to each other, is through Bluetooth. The lights for the awning are also turned off from inside as well. We'll go inside the unit now. I think that's pretty much everything on the outside. Basically, I just work my way around clockwise through the unit to do it all. You've got a fire extinguisher here at the front door. This is one of those vents I was telling you about that's over here. This is where you can take and open that vent this way, or you can also take and open it the other way to where it opens up and it's kind of drawing the air in the other direction. You have a switch right here, and I think this switch right here is probably turning that light on and off in the back. This is where your awning light switch is right here. Your exterior light, living room lights, anything that you see still staying on after I turn them off here are probably manually controlled by a little push button right in the center. This is your water heater for gas, and this is your water pump for turning on your water pump. This is something to do with Bluetooth connectivity and stuff on your, to where you can probably scan this code here and be able to connect with your camper through here to be able to know what all these things are doing as well and be able to manually operate them. This right here is your level controls for your fresh tank. Tells you what your fresh tank is. I just recently pulled the valve on that. The black tank level, your gray tank level, as they get higher and fuller, basically, you're going to get more green lights, kind of like your battery here. To really to really know how your battery truly is, also really the best way to do that is be unplugged from power, because your converter coming through your breaker panel right here could give you a false reading on your battery and such. So always just make sure that you can test your battery that way as well. This is that code I was telling you about for your Insight camera system, and this is the one you're going to want to be reading. And this is part of the step-by-step procedure to be able to link the two together. It's got its own, I guess, serial number or whatever through that to be able to know what it's doing. This is your awning. This is how you're going to bring your awning in and out. Again, remember, even though it says return, you always want to make sure that the material is returning back to the unit. Hold on here. It's hard to do this stuff with one hand. You always want to make sure that this is returning back to where the roller is rolling under the fabric, coming back to you, just like you see right here. And that's how you're wanting to bring the awning back. And then all you're doing, again, is you're just going to bring it all the way back to the camper, tighten it up, and let go. Again, if you had your pitch arms pitched in any way, make sure you return them back to their normal position prior to rolling the awning up. Then you got tie downs on the floor in here. Storage up here. This is one of those temporary lights I was telling you about. Like, you got a little push button right here in the center of the fixture that turns that fixture on and off. And this fixture back here is going to be the same way. And I think these two underneath it here are going to be like that. And then these two up here are going to be the same way as well. This particular table here, that's in its storage position to be able to make a bed out of it when you take it and put it all the way down. It's got like Velcro or something on the bottom edge there to be able to kind of hold that in place. You can take these cushions and center them back to the middle, and then use these cushions here to fill in with at the headboard or so. If you wanted to raise this up, you take those cushions out of the way, you can raise all this up and then lock it into these little latches here on the wall, and to be able to hold those up in place. You also have the door ramp that can, you can drop the ramp down, stay connected to the cables. You can use then these right here as your porch railings, and you also have this cloth material here that can roll down to help keep the bugs out of here and stuff like that as well. They do have this little rules here that talk about, what you should be putting in here in a camper. Has the maximum weight capacity in the cargo area. You shouldn't occupy the camper at the same time that any kind of gasoline powered vehicle is inside of here. because of fumes or something to that effect. This here is a GFI protected outlet, and as well as this one, but again the GFI is probably in the bathroom. You've got your keys here for the camper itself. 2 of these purple are going to be for the door here on the side, and 2 of these are going to be for the rear entry door. And then you've got the little, like the outside shower and front storage bin keys here as well. Soap dispenser here. Your cold air return for your furnace is located under here. There's no filter or anything in there to change. The only place you actually have filters at is in your AC unit on each side of here. It's important to kind of keep take and clean those off, especially how much you're using this would dictate how often you need to do it. You just pop these off. You can bring a filter down, wash it, pat it dry, and stick it right back up there. You also have the ability to open these right here if you wanted a more rapid cool right here. By keeping them closed, it kind of, 1, makes it a little quieter, but 2, it also forces the air to go more to the ductwork and blow out of the ductwork. You've got your light over your cook stove area here, as well as your exhaust fan. Remember, whenever you're running your fan, make sure you have that vent open on the outside. You have a little glass top that goes down over top of the stove, as well as you got a little board back here, like a cutting board. It's got a magnet on it. This is going to be your left, your center, and your right burners. You do have a little light that you can turn on and off here for decoration. It also turns the light on inside the oven. This is your sparker that you're going to turn clockwise to be able to light your burners and your oven as well. Simply all you're doing is putting this on high and hitting the sparker to light them up. It's kind of like lighting a grill, basically. And this is your oven. And when you're doing your oven, you want to take it and turn it to the pilot light position and then hold it in. And when you hold it in, you want to hold it in for about, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 seconds. Give it enough time to get gas down to the pilot light, which is in the middle all the way in the back of the oven. What I like to do is I like to kind of use the reflection from the door on the stove, and it gives me an angle back to the rear. And then likewise, so when I'm holding this, I hold this down, and then with your other hand, you again hit the sparker, turning clockwise. You get the pilot light to light in the back, give it enough time to warm the thermocouple, which is a safety, and then you can take and turn this on around and it'll light the main burner. I can't do this one-handed, so that's basically how you light your stove. When you turn it back to off, it basically is going to turn the pilot light and the main burner out. So you always have to light your stove pilot light first every time. Your refrigerator, this is a 12-volt refrigerator. It has a little knob right here that could go across the doors to be able to keep the doors from flying open while you're driving. Refrigerated boxes down at the bottom, and your freezer boxes up at the top. This switch right here is how you can control your set point for the coldest. Naturally, 5 is going to be the coldest setting. Also, to turn this refrigerator off, you hold this button down for about 10 seconds. When the light goes out, you're going to let go of the button, and that turns the refrigerator off. It's important that if you don't want your refrigerator on, that you do this and turn your refrigerator off. Otherwise, it will run off your 12-volt battery when you unplug from electric, or in this case, like when I unplug from here, and if they go put this over in storage or something, it's going to run off of the battery on me, and I don't want it to run off the battery because it'll drain the battery down. So it's important to make sure that you turn that off. To turn it back on, you do the same thing. Hold it down for about 10 seconds. When the light starts blinking or the light comes on in the refrigerator, it's powering back up, and at that point you've turned it on. Now another way, or whatever, if you accidentally left some lights on, you want to make sure everything is actually off. If you have no need to have your 12-volt on, that's your battery disconnect right there. So you can turn your battery disconnect off. If that little T handle can come out, your battery disconnect is turned off. Your voltage is just to the right of that, showing you what your voltage is coming off on your battery. And then right below that is your LP carbon monoxide detector. Basically at that point, you basically want to take and use that for LP carbon monoxide. That is hardwired to your battery at all times. You want to, well, let me just back this up here. It's hardwired to your battery at all times, unlike your smoke detector here, which is on a 9-volt battery. This one here will run off of, if it smells LP or if carbon monoxide trips it, it will go off. Now that is hardwired to your battery up front, and the reason it is because it always has to be on just in case you had a gas leak or something like that in there. So that's basically how that one operates. If you hear it chirping every now and then, you might want to do a battery check on your camper and make sure your battery is up and good to go, because that might be why it's chirping. This is your breaker panel right here to the left side of that. That's where your 110 resettable breakers are, and all your 12-volt fuses are located there. If you do blow a 12-volt fuse, usually a little LED lights up right beside the fuse. It tells you that that fuse is particularly blown. Your thermostat is located just to the left. This is your mode button down here on the bottom, and these arrows are, of course, going to be your set points. Basically, you run through your different settings here, and right now it looks like it's in Cool High Auto. Cool High Auto basically is when the set point is reached in the camper to whatever you chose as a set point. So like I could choose 65. Once it hits 65, it will then turn everything off. It'll get totally quiet in here. If you use Cool High versus Cool High Auto, it will leave the fan running. The compressor turns off, but it keeps the air on and keeps it circulating. So that's the difference between Cool High and Cool High Auto. Otherwise, this runs you through fan mode, which is just a fan, or also is where you turn your heat on, and everything for the unit. Right here is that other TV bracket we were talking about. Basically, you can mount this to a TV, and you can move your TV around different places. This is your cable connection, 110 power for it, and this little push button right here is what turns your booster on and off. See, when you see that little green light, that's basically saying that you got the power booster on. You have to have the power booster on to draw power from your antenna for it to be able to pull the high def channels. These lights here in this area are also going to be manual light switches as well. You've got an AM, FM, Bluetooth radio right here. Basically, I just hold this down, it's going to turn it on. It does have different zones, zone 1 and 2. So it turns zone 1 on, turns zone 2 off. This is where you're going to control your radio basically. If I hold this button down, it's going to turn it totally off. So it's just a simple radio is what it is. Going into the bathroom here, you've got shower doors here. You want to make sure these shower doors, whenever you're actually driving down the road, you want to make sure these shower doors are secured by putting this little strap on here to keep it closed. You've got a little switch right here in here also as well, and that is apparently turning the lights on and off here in the bathroom. GFI outlet, so it looks like, yep, this is going to be the GFI outlet right here. You got a medicine cabinet in here. Your exhaust fan is up here on the ceiling. Basically pull down on this knob, crank this around, it raises the lid, and then this is a multi-speed fan. You can turn it on right here and then turn it off here. Otherwise, once you close this, push that knob up to kind of make sure that lid stays where it is. Your toilet has a foot valve down here on the bottom. Basically, to operate this toilet, you kind of push down on that little foot valve down ever so slightly just to open the water valve and turn water on into the toilet, but not enough to make the flapper open. That's how you typically want to start out. And then once you've got water in there, do your business, and then when you're done, you push it all the way to the floor, flush it into the black tank, then finish off by doing the same thing you did before. Push it down ever so slightly to put water in the bowl. And the reason for the water in the bowl is to it serves as a vapor barrier, kind of like a P-trap under a sink or something, just so you won't get sewer gas up inside the unit. Into the bedroom, you've got USB charging ports over here, 110 power. You also have USB on this side in 110. Again, you have TV connections up on the top and 110 power here. Heating vents are down on the floor, AC vents are up here on the ceiling. All of these lights are going to be manual controlled, and I believe this bedroom one here is also. And you have another little bracket here that you can hang a TV there. You got closets on each side of the bed and more storage up above, and you can also pick this mattress up and get into the storage underneath of the mattress. That just is a not only an emergency exit window, it's also a working window. You can bring that red handle around, kind of prop it up in position, and use it as a regular window as well. You've got a skylight here. You also have a little blind that you can pull across here to keep the light out if you want to. I think that's just about it in here. It's just about everything. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to give us a call here at Holman, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you got. And other than that, have a great day, and thank you.